Okay, I have switched over to my Mac because Premiere doesn't handle so well on my personal PC. So here I am. Um, I was reminded of some things when I was downloading OBS for the first time. So if you're downloading this on your computer, um, you do have to make sure you've allowed it to access your screen recording and all of that. It'll pop up for you in like system preferences, let it record this, allow it, and you have to click the unlock button and then check mark it on and then lock it again. So that's important. Also, I know the end of my video sound got cut off. I was basically just saying that, once I finish recording, I would bring in my videos to, I would look back in my video folder and then I was ready to bring it in Premiere. So that was the ending of that. I just hit stop record on OBS. So I'm going to resize this screen again. All I need for, since I'm just recording this for you is the display capture, but remember capturing with OBS, you need a little bit more to get the audio from Unity. I'm going to do it until I hit the full screen, a little bit more. Okay. Perfect. So one thing I want to show you is, I mentioned if your computer is lagging and it's not playing very well, you can use a different computer. So you could just upload this file .exe to a drive, USB, external hard drive, whatever, and then download it on a school computer, play it, and record with OBS on that computer. So that's all you would need to do if you create that executable build. I brought my 4 clips into Google Drive and then downloaded them onto my computer here so that you can see that that's what I'm going to work with in Premiere. I'm going to create so I'm going to start in Premiere. Again, I'm just going to go over the very basics. I want you to remember that you can always go back to course material content and your technical exercise 2 for a refresher on Adobe Premiere Basics, and then a more in-depth video on editing. As another addition, I will email these videos out, but I am posting them here, final project demos, so part 1 and part 2, and then this, what I'm recording right now, is part 3. I will email those out, but they'll always be under final project/demos. Okay. So I have Premiere open. Going to create a new project. I'm going to name this final video. I'm going to add a year. Mass Construction AS. So this is for me. You might have a title for your project, so you could add a title here. For example, my title is going to be Demo. I'm going to save it. I want to save it actually on my desktop. I could save it in my documents where I have other Premiere files, but I'm going to save it to my desktop. So I hit choose, and you can leave everything as is. Hit OK. That is a little bit messy. Oh no, here it is. This is an older project that was confusing me. I'm going to delete it. Okay, so I'm going to open Premiere back up. Okay, so I'm going to close this tab and I'm going to move my video folder or screenshots. I don't know why I'm changing that. It can be anything to my desktop. Oops. So, and then from here on my desktop, I will click and drag them into my import media to start section. Okay, so I have 4 videos here that all start in OBS because that's what I'm recording in. And what I'm gonna do is click and drag one onto the timeline to start a sequence. And then as a test, I'm gonna hit play. Okay, cool. So I'm actually going to delete this because I really only have a couple that I need. So I'm going to show you how to bring in a couple, but I just have that main last one. So here I'm going to actually change the name of the sequence. I'm going to right click on this. Sequence settings. That all looks good. 1920 by 1080, 60 frames per second so far. Okay. I'm going to save as. No. Okay, so I know some of you will know this a lot better than me, so just bear with me. So I'm going to X out just to create my new sequence. I'll do File, New, Sequence, and then I'm going to call it Demo. This is the title of my sequence, 2022 Message Construction. And then if I go to sequence settings, I can check to make sure. So I have 29 frames per second. So I saw that in my last one, it came in as 60 frames per second. So I can do a couple things here. I can, leave this as is, or when I bring in this, click and drag in my preview, it says this clip does not match the sequence settings. Change sequence to match clip settings. Change sequence settings. So we can watch what this looks like. At 60 frames per second. Looks pretty good to me. Or I can go to sequence settings and change that to the 29.97, see how that works. They both look pretty good. This extended so this says my timestamp is 6:56, and if I go back to 60, it's just a little bit longer. So I'm going to just leave it as is, but it's totally up to you. I don't think it's going to matter when you upload to YouTube, but I'm going to check that out really quick. 24 to 60. So you could do anyone. Okay, and yours might be different than mine based on the computer you recorded on. So that's why just changing the sequence settings is probably a good call to match the video that you created. And then I want to say you don't have to upload to YouTube. You could upload to any like hosting video site, but it's just up to you. But it's gonna be better than posting it directly to the message construction site because we don't have as big of a server. And the site's trying to do a lot. So the more videos, it slows it down a little bit. So it's always good to host it and then stream it on the site rather than upload it to the site itself. So that's why I say YouTube or Vimeo or whatever video platform you choose. So here in the video, unfortunately, my Zoom controls were recorded. That is funny. But it's also fine because, you know, this is just a demo. But you can see that my video here is looks pretty sharp. I'm going to click on editing and effects. I want to see for my scale. Okay, it is at 100%. So I recorded at 1980 and it is being shown at that. So I went to editing and then effect controls and I looked at the scale just to see that it was totally fitting into that screen here on the right. If my sequence settings were different, that might not be the case. It might be scaled at 100, but much larger than the actual view of the canvas in Premiere. So I'm going to put that back to 100. And okay, let me bring in a few more clips and I'll finish this demo so that, you know, it's not too long. So this one, I don't know. Okay, I'm actually going to delete that. So this I know I have to cut. I'm going to move it over to the right a little bit to leave some space for what I'm going to bring in. I can preview these here. I don't have to, so double clicking, I can preview them here. I don't have to bring them into the sequence to preview them. Okay, let's see this one. I'm just going to bring in a couple clips just to show you how I bring it together. And I'll add this insert to the sequence. Oops. And it's going to insert wherever my time marker is. So I'll bring my time marker back to the beginning and then insert here. And you can see that went there. I already changed my mind, so I want to bring this to the end now, so it would have been much more beneficial for me to leave this at the front, put my timestamper directly at the end, and then hit insert. I could even do it again just to show you. There we go. So, you know, a lot of you are creating these linear narratives where there's a, you know, start, middle, beginning, middle, and end to your story. But as you've said, like Unity is an interactive environment, so, you know, we're playing audio from start, video from start on awake. So play on awake. So what does it mean if you start your piece and you're listening to one audio and by the time you get to your, let's say we start near these bushes and there's some audio playing, and then when you get to the car, there's a different audio playing, but you're in the middle of it and you want to be at the beginning. So what you'll do when you record is hold that shot until the audio starts playing from the beginning again. So you'll need to cut the audio so that all so you'll see your first piece of audio here, right? Recorded from the audio capture in OBS. Mine has none. And then your second will be all here. That's the part you'll cut. the center, so say this is the beginning of your story, object 1, the second part of your story, object 2, but it started in the middle. So you'll wait, could be a few minutes, and then cut and start your story over, and then bring them together. So say you're holding a scene, which I actually am here, even though there's no audio, and you know you want to cut the visual and the audio, so that's perfect. So we can, let me see where I want to cut. I'm going to cut quite a bit of this. Okay, so I can go to my cut tool, which is here. It's called the razor tool. So this is in this toolbar that is part of the default window layout in Unity, so razor. And I can hit, oh, I want to stop playing that too, so I have an exact location. And then I can click and also, you know, say I want to cut it here. Ooh, a little bit before that. I can cut it and then delete this whole center, and then I can, I did that fast, apologize, undo, right click into the blank space, ripple delete, and bring those two points together. So again, theoretically, I've cut out the entire section that was just my second object's audio from the middle, and then continued. And it was able to start from the beginning. So if you wanted to keep some of that, so say I want to cut a little bit more even, because this is pretty stagnant. Let's see when it stops, or when it starts moving. So say I want to cut from where it is now to here. Say I have a bunch of audio here of this, again, this story, but it's not starting from the beginning. But I want to keep this pause. I want to keep the visual space. So I want to cut the audio without cutting the video. What you need to do is right click on the video and choose unlink. That way you can just click on the audio and then cut that audio out and delete. You could choose to add in sound effects. You know, in post, you can do whatever you want in post with the video. Remember, you can even bring in live action shots. So like you can bring in parts of your video project into this section. You're really able to do whatever you want. There are some people in class who are going to focus on like a lot of video with Unity's graphics as like a supporting factor. And some of you will want it all to be in Unity, and that's okay. So if you bring in other videos, you can just bring them into this import section on the left and then import them in. So again, you can look at on eCampus, there's the demos, but also in technical exercise 2, there's these great videos on in-depth video editing and then the basics. Just some basic effects I'll show is if you click on effects and go to the side here, you could do, let's do a fade in. So this is, I just don't use Premiere that much, but you can add a basic like fade. What would it be called? Fade video transition. Okay, let's just go to video transitions. Dissolve. So you could bring a dip to black at, say, the end of the video. And if you zoom in, you'll see if that is, so that is here. You can always click on that small effect you created, video, and extend it. So it says 32 milliseconds. We do 1. Made it a little bit bigger here. And that way at the end of your video, it's fading out. You can do a similar thing with audio. Let's do an exponential fade. Listen again. And then in the beginning, we should be able to see some video effects. You can use any of these. I just want a basic dip to black. So you start black and then slowly gain, just to create that sort of like intro and outro. And again, you can change that timestamp whenever you want. When you're finished editing, one more thing. There, see at the end here, I did record in a full view rather than in a not full view, I mean, rather than like here. Well, even here I need to do some editing because, oh no, this is good. Other than my Zoom controllers, the edges are good. That's the benefit of recording in that executable file. But if you're recording here and you want to zoom in, or crop rather, you can scale to crop. Oh, and I'm on the wrong one, so I'm going to go back. Undo. I'm going to go back to here and then scale. And you'll lose some quality. That's why it's the benefit of, there's a benefit to recording full screen. And again, I'm not going to worry about cropping the zoom parts out, but I've just changed that file. So I can press play. Okay. Okay, and this dip to black is a transition, so it is not what I'm looking for. So I'm going to clear that. And what I want is not a transition, but rather, I mean, it should be right here. Okay. So you need to keyframe. So we'll do keyframe here. We'll start it here. open it. No, we want opacity. So we'll create a keyframe of opacity of 100, and then at the end, we'll make that opacity 0, which should give us the effect that we're looking for. Let me start that over. It's not rendering properly. Give me a second. Okay, so I'm editing the keyframe here along the timeline. I had to do right click, show clip keyframes opacity here, and then press play. And it's just like it's just getting stuck. But I'm going to export, and I think it's just my computer. It should be fine. So again, basic transitions, audio, and keyframing in the effects controls and timeline, and then you can look at the video for more effects and transitions if you want. But as long as you're editing it together, creating some intro, like some soft intro and outro with the fading of the opacity and keyframes, then you're all set. As long as you're creating your story, putting it all together. So you'll hit File, Export, Media. I'm going to choose H.264 for a more compressed and optimized file. 1920 by 1080. The audio is good, and I can hit Q or export. Q will take it to my media encoder, and export you can do it immediately. I'll do it immediately, but you can take it to media encoder if you want. So it says it's going to take about 4 minutes. I don't have a pause button on this one. I'm not sure where it is, but that is why I'm not pausing. Okay, so it is finished exporting. I will just save my project in sequence, lower it, and my video is here. So let's see. I'm gonna fast forward through some of this. So, let's start from the beginning. Nice quick fade in. Needs some work, but let's get to here. Okay, so all a little fast, it needs some work, but that's the basic template of bringing in your files to Premiere, adding them together, potentially cutting video and audio, unlinking them and cutting audio, and adding keyframes for different effects like opacity to create a fade in and fade out. Finally, you would post this to, again, the online platform like YouTube or Vimeo, and then on the site, and that is how you complete your final project.